There is meaning in every journey that is unknown to the traveler.
Why does it? I mean, there is nothing on blockchain that can't be done better, faster, substantially cheaper, not pushing paper. I mean, the banking system that we have around the world, the modern banking system, is antiquated. It's antiquated, and it's just a matter of time before really crypto not only catches up, but just really leaps ahead. And so we're incredibly excited on a lot of fronts, and I think America will be the crypto capital of the world. And
Eric Trump has echoed statements that come from Ripple executives about antiquated banking. It was reported that their project, World Liberty Financial, has accumulated ETH, Link, and Aave using USDC. It's important to note that it's possible to track on-chain transactions in the Ethereum and EVM ecosystems. However, you would not be able to know what wallets came from other chains.
And no one's ever put together a sensible plan as to how to regulate an industry. They're fine with regulation, but they just want guidelines, and they've said that. And the problem is you see so many companies that have been so unfairly treated, right? So many lawsuits, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, people attacked, companies attacked. And they're just saying, just give us the rules of the road and we'll obey them. And by the way, if you give us the rules of the road, chances are the rest of the world will follow. And so I think sensible regulation makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people think that the crypto industry doesn't want regulation. That's actually not true. They just want sensible regulation that they can follow, regulation that's crystal clear, that's black and white. And they don't want to see people like Gary Gensler, who was absolutely a disaster for crypto. Everything he could to try and stifle innovation, he would do so. And those people.
We haven't been asking to be deregulated. We've been asking to be regulated. So we have been saying, hey, look, just give us clear rules of the road.
Again, these were statements that were made on 60 Minutes when they interviewed Brad Garlinghouse. It's important to note that these are not Bitcoin maxis. The people that were hired were not Bitcoin maxis. They have an open view towards the larger crypto ecosystem.
It had a big influence. You know why? Because about 17% of Americans hold crypto, and all of them were getting left behind. They felt like they were voiceless, like so many other people in our country. And that's why you had the massive turnout that you had before. They felt that they were getting attacked every single day. They thought they were being disrespected. They weren't being heard. And so I think the crypto industry had a massive part of, the victory. They came out in spades. And then, by the way, a lot of these people were people who weren't traditionally even Republican voters. But they really believed in something, and they saw a party that wasn't advancing modern technology. They were upset about it. Again, they thought they were being left behind, and so oftentimes they were actually being attacked. Gary Gensler was attacking all of them, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. So I think the crypto industry really came out. I was very proud to see that. It's obviously an industry I support tremendously, and I think they will play a real role in U.S. politics going forward, because they're a sizable force that makes up a lot of great people who want to say in how our government works.
60 Minutes report came out, and they were biased towards the fact that the crypto industry lobbied the government, and that's how it works. Yet 60 Minutes was playing it as they were interfering with everything. But the reality is there was a hostile environment towards this innovation.
The crypto war, we were on the receiving end for 4 years. It was incredibly brutal, incredibly destructive. AI, we had meetings in DC in May where we talked to them about this, and the meetings were absolutely horrifying, and we came out basically deciding we had to endorse Trump.
Mark, add so little color to absolutely horrifying. What did you hear in those meetings?
So they said, look, AI is one of these technology. AI is a technology basically that the government is going to completely control. This is not going to be a startup thing. They actually said flat out to us, don't do AI startups. Like don't fund AI startups. It's not something that we're going to allow to happen. They're not going to be allowed to exist. There's no point. They basically said AI is going to be a game of 2 or 3 big companies working closely with the government, and we're going to basically wrap them in I'm paraphrasing, but we're going to basically wrap them in a government cocoon. We're going to protect them from competition. We're going to control them, and we're going to dictate what they do. And then I said, well, yeah, I said, I don't understand how you're going to lock this down so much, because like the math for, AI is like out there and it's being taught everywhere. And, they literally said, well, during the Cold War, we classified entire areas of physics, and took them out of the research community, and like entire branches of physics basically went dark and didn't proceed. And that if we decide we need to, we're going to do the same thing to the math underneath AI.
Wow.
And I said, I've just learned two very important things. Because I wasn't aware of the former, and I wasn't aware that you were, even conceiving of doing it to the latter. And so they basically just said, yeah, we're going to take total control of the entire thing, and just don't.
And what was their?
Mark Andreessen describes a meeting that he had with the White House and the Biden administration specifically about artificial intelligence. They were trying to gatekeep AI, only allowing large corporations to have access to the technology. Technology enhances the quality of life for everyone, and it's disturbing to think that there are powers that be trying to direct and control our path forward. I understand national security, but preventing the scientific community to physics could have had consequences that are inconceivable, and it's anti-human progress to continue to have these strategies in place. The beauty of decentralization and open source means that information like AI is now protected. It will be very difficult for government moving forward to sanction technology because of the crypto movement. Public, open networks allow anyone in the world to participate, and with privacy-preserving technology, it could be impossible to track down the participants of these networks.
Support financial innovation wherever it may go, and there are probably respects in which crypto has been over-regulated by overzealous regulators. But some of what is being said, this idea that we should have some kind of national Bitcoin reserve, is crazy. I understand why we need a national oil reserve. I understand why a century ago we accumulated gold in Fort Knox. But of all the prices to support, why would the government choose to support by accumulating a sterile inventory a bunch of Bitcoin? There's no reason to do that other than to pander to generous special interest campaign contributors.
There was recently a leak saying that Russia was going to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Remember, El Salvador has a strategic reserve. Bhutan is working on a $1 billion infrastructure to have Bitcoin mining. So there are nations around the world gearing towards having Bitcoin reserves, and it's almost like there's a race to bid up the crypto world. And I don't think it's necessarily about Bitcoin. I think it's to spawn innovation and really accelerate innovation. And what better way to get nation-state actors into the mix and push prices up?
I'll tell you, Neil, there is a report out this week that an unnamed pension fund in the UK has put 3% of their assets under management into Bitcoin. And they are unnamed for a reason. I think, A, they may look to increase their position, and B, frankly, for good reasons, they want to remain unknown for now. I think that there is a lot of accumulation that has started, or certainly education that has started by institutions around the world that are starting to add Bitcoin to their portfolio. But certainly there's a long ways to go from zero to wherever the level is that they want to get to satisfy their allocation.
Didn't specifically say what pension fund, but it came from the UK Cartwright pension fund. They said one of their pension funds has a 3% allocation, and these are huge funds. AMP, which is one of Australia's leading superannuation funds, has allocated 27 million of its portfolio into Bitcoin. In an interview with Australian Financial Review, AMP's chief investment officer Anna Shelby said that Bitcoin purchases represent 0.05% of AMP's impressive 57 billion under management. Technology, healthcare, there is an array of different companies that are adding Bitcoin and other crypto assets into their corporate treasury. it was announced that Rumble is looking to add Bitcoin to their treasury, as well as marijuana company, as well as a tech company that has added Bitcoin and XRP to their treasury.
Mindful people that have been supportive between Scott Bessent and Paul Atkins and now David Sachs, who will be the AI crypto czar. You have some really sharp, really successful, really pro-crypto people in and around the administration. On top of that, you've got a Congress that is controlled by Republicans that has already seen a bill that will establish a strategic reserve of Bitcoin for the U.S. government. Whether that gets passed or whether that goes forward, it doesn't matter. There are other countries around the world like Brazil, Poland, Russia, the state of Pennsylvania, who are also all considering strategic Bitcoin reserves, as are corporations around the country. And so this is a scarce asset. And I think that people, inclusive of the biggest investors around the world, sovereign wealth funds and nation states, will start to buy this and will have a difficult time keeping the price low. And therefore, demand is going to totally outstrip supply.
I would often get comments on my videos that I was delusional for thinking that nations would jump into the world of crypto. Yet here we are. We're seeing a race for all countries to have some type of presence in the crypto world. This is only going to accelerate. And it's not all because of Bitcoin. It's because the dollar's role in the traditional system is so great that there needs to be a level playing field. There needs to be a way for nations to conduct business without putting their full faith and trust in the dollar. Now, this is why the U.S. is leaning in so heavily, because U.S. treasuries are going to need a buyer, and creating stablecoin legislation and having stablecoins as backed by dollars is almost pegging the dollar to the crypto world. Dollars are the most liquid currency, regardless if countries want to move away from them to avoid sanctions. There's still a necessary utility that the dollar serves
in the regional banking space. And I also think it's a good play on rate cuts. And then Bitcoin, I think people are really have got to get out of the grade 9 class of trying to figure out what Bitcoin is, to move down the hall into like the grade 12 or the senior class of enriched views, and which is, look, we're going to renegotiate a Bretton Woods 2.0 type agreement. Scott Bissett's talked about it. And, you know, the Treasury Department has made presentations on it. And when you think about the evolution of Bitcoin, what people forget is the importance of stable coins. And if stable coins are going to have a legislation, which I think under the Trump administration, where they're going to be forced to own U.S. treasuries, we have just got a brand new demand for U.S. treasuries. And so I look at this new environment moving forward, much like the 1970s with the introduction of the Petro-dollar, where Bitcoin is actually a complement to the U.S. dollar. And it really provides a way for us to get out of this debt crisis. And so it really puts on the back foot this argument of fiscal dominance, where people suggest that interest rates are going higher because of so much government debt has to be financed.
This is going to start an economic Cold War, so to speak. As the U.S. progresses with stablecoin dominance, other countries will want to compete by taking their bonds and tokenizing them. And what's in the center of all of this is the crypto world. And when a tremendous amount of wealth floods into crypto, this just bids up the prices of all of the coins that are useful in ecosystems that house these stable coins, that have other assets that are purchasable by these stable coins. And this will accelerate the entire crypto asset evolution. Difficult times have helped me to understand better than before how infinitely rich and beautiful life is in every way, and that so many things that one goes worrying about are of no importance whatsoever. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. If you enjoy content like this, please consider joining my Patreon or my ghost site, dmjr.ghost.io. Thanks, guys.